Alright guys, got a 20-minute up. This is just a challenge. I just came onto chess.com and there it was. So Zinesta or Zinesta 54 is rated 1424, which is not much below me. I'm currently 1446. And we have the French. And let's see what we're going to get. Alpine Gambit. Okay, so you're trying to tempt me into taking this. Well, I'm not in a mood for accepting gambits right now. Haven't been playing super well, so thanks to chess.com for telling me it was a gambit. I mean, obviously he seems to be offering a pawn, and I'm not buying it. So we have gambit declined. So just play c5, which is a very normal move. Pretty reliable move. I'm threatening to capture the pawn, so that's why he's pushed c3 now. Okay. So let's add more. Very typical knight c6. I could find the bishop flying in with a pin, which I can then just break. Also notice that with bringing out this bishop as well, he's also undefended the b2 pawn, which can be a target. So he obviously knew I was going to play the French, eh? He or she. So, what's going to happen? Yeah, I've just been laid low with a bit of a chest cold last couple of days. Also not sleeping too great, so my chest powers are weak. Your powers are weak, old man. Now I am the master. Arr, 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 arr. So, what's he going to do? Seems like he's out of his prep already. Unless he's having a really good think and is just going to wipe the floor with me because he's working from first principles and he's much more awake than I am, being based in the US. So 5 to 8 hours more awake than me. This is at least it's an unrated game, eh? Zinesta? Could be Zinesta. As in magazine. Okay, right, so you've advanced. So with this, f6 becomes definitely an idea. Could develop my queen here, third attacker there, and attack this. But then my opponent may... But if he pushes on, I guess I've got this. So that's a thought. At least it gets the queen out. Let her stretch her legs. Okay, so I'm attacking this pawn. b3 is kind of solid. Right. Okay, now if I take, let's think this through, bit of calc. Okay, I'm attacking the rook. The only way that my opponent can save the rook is to move the knight either to here or to here with a discovered defense by the queen, right? So my queen's here, knight moves there, I just take the knight. So the knight's going to have to move there, but then I can take this pawn. Now there can be traps down these lines, but let's go for it. So I'm hoping that he's just missed that. And of course, because I haven't moved my light square, bishop b7 is still defended. If at any point the rook wants to come to b1 and chase my queen away. So I'm definitely expecting this, in which case I can grab a second pawn. That then means I've got 3 attackers on this pawn and only 2 defenders if the knight is in the way of the queen. Of course, also capturing this pawn also comes with check, which is kind of funky. No, it doesn't, because the knight's blocking there. Okay, this is what I'm trying to develop, you know, this... What will the board look like after 2 moves, 3 moves? It really is absolutely central to the game, isn't it? Okay, so I think this is pretty much forced, and then I'm going to take that pawn. Okay, so I take this pawn. I've got 3 attackers on this pawn now, and the knight itself is pinned. So let's ice the knight. The queen is the only defender of the rook. So this is the other thing that I'm doing, is kind of refinement on the goldfish. I'm not bothering to try and draw every defensive relationship, but I'm now highlighting undefended pieces in red, pinned pieces, or pieces that are effectively pinned, in blue, which I think is the command key on the Mac, and right click. And then pieces that are only defended one time, I am doing with an arrow. So I'm showing this is a key defense. So here it would be that's defended twice, defended once only by the pawn, right? So I might highlight that as an idea. Defended twice. Undefended, that's defended only by that. That kind of thing. So this is a much simpler kind of setup. Now I can now go ahead and take the pawn and attack the bishop. I think I'm happy with that. Still the knight is iced. That's undefended, but I'm quite happy if white wants to go ahead and swap off their light squared bishop, and then I get to move a pawn towards the centre, another pawn towards the centre. Oh, actually, that was stupid. The knight is pinned, and we didn't take account of that, did we, Precious? And now my queen's under attack. Okay, so queen can't go there, or there, or there, or there, or there, or there, or there. So I have to come back to one of these squares. So let's come all the way back here. That was a miscalculation. I'm still, however, 2 pawns up. So what have I lost there? Nothing really, actually. That was an exchange of pawns, and I do still have a pawn majority in the centre, 2-1. I'm still happy if he wants to trade off here, because that then lets my bad bishop get into the game. Bishop goes there, happy days. Nothing wrong with this picture. Alright, now, that's pinned, which I'm not happy about. So I can either try and kick the bishop and persuade the bishop to clear off somewhere else, or I could break the pin with my bishop. But I prefer this. If the rook ever comes here as well, I've got a barrage here with bishop and queen that I could use to force a trade of some material. Being 2 pawns up is no bad thing. So I have this big majority here, and I have an extra pawn there and an extra pawn there. I've got to be conscious of these things. That is my advantage so far in the game. I also have both bishops. On the downside, my opponent has got 4 pieces out on the board and has castled. The development score of 6, whereas I've only got 2 out, so I'm well behind in development, although I've got more wood. Okay, he's taking his time. Oh, we have traded. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a trade. Excellent. Well, this is good now. It means I've got now, these 2 are now passed pawns, right? There is no pawn anywhere here that can get in their way. So now c5 again is a possibility. And I really want to get my bishop out then somewhere, get my knight out somewhere, that kind of thing. Oh, you attacking my queen, huh? Okay, it's defended twice. Knight is defended by the pawn. I just feel like dropping back right now. Let's just go into turtle mode. Bishop there looks good. Maybe push a5, pairing the pawn and the bishop together. Also then, gets control over these squares, which is going to help if my plan is going to be to push Charlie and Dave up the board. I could even push my c-pawn now. It's attacked twice, but it's also defended twice, bishop and queen. Okay, that's kind of interesting. See, if I trade now, his bishop's got this outpost there that's in Charlie's way, which is annoying, right? Huh. And also, bishop here is covering that square, which means my king can't castle. So, got a couple of ideas. One is to bring the knight out, somehow. Another is maybe to move the queen. That puts a second attacker on the knight. Now he can't go there or there because of the bishop. So let's try this again. I know I moved my queen yet again. However, this knight is now over-attacked and under-defended, so I think the knight is going to be forced to move. Knight might come back here. I could then put my queen here, which prevents the knight going back because it would still be then over-attacked. Know what I mean? Okay, right. That's not bad play. I think the knight's going to have to come out. Knight comes out, it's guarding... If I can get to there, both of these squares that the bishop has got on this diagonal, because every other one is unavailable, my knight is covering. So I'm going to force the bishop... What am I going to do? Force the bishop off that diagonal? And what's his idea with this? What's your game? Hey? Can't get there, rook takes. Can't get there, bishop takes. Can't get there, queen takes. Queen takes. He hasn't got a check with the knight with the discovery, so let's go. Queen can't take knight. It's defended by pawn. Now I'm hassling the bishop. The bishop may have to come off here, but if the bishop goes there, I get the knight. If the bishop goes there, I get the knight. The bishop comes here, we trade a go-go, pawn recaptures, and I get the knight. So, knight is going to have to move, eh? The bishop itself is defended, so I think he's going to have to move his knight back here. Possibly there. Possibly there. If it comes here, it hits the queen, and I haven't got time to capture the bish. If the knight comes there, I might just again drop the queen back to here. Again, if the knight thinks about coming in, I just destroy the bishop. It's just calculation. I mean, it's all there to be read on the board, you know. The only question is, can you be bothered to exert the effort to do the calculation? Oh, there's another possibility that I hadn't even counted upon. Right, my first thought is capture the knight with my bishop, because look, I've got these light squared pawns. That's a bad bishop. So I think I'm going to take the knight. Right, if rook recaptures, I'll snatch off his bishop, which is a much better bishop, for the same reason, that all these key pawns are on light squares. However, I will be pushing c5 at some point. It's currently defended twice. Okay, I'm taking that bishop. I'm not going to think too hard about that. Okay, and then could even put queen there, right? Threatening a trade of queens, also threatening to take the knight. And he doesn't have a good check, so let's think about that. Just put the pressure on. Also, just a minor bonus, is lining up the queen with the king. Not to be sniffed at. Cool. Alright. This drops a pawn. But at least now I get to castle. Okay. So I'm going to castle out of trouble. If a knight goes there, it can't because that. Okay. And now I have a bishop. I have a bishop to his knight. I'm not too worried about this. He can come back, we can trade off all the rooks, but then I've got a much more mobile piece, minor piece left at the end compared to his knight. Yes, I will have to mobilize my king. This pawn is pinned. So he wants to trade off his bad knight for my good bishop. Well, seems fair. Then get the rook now behind my... Oh, hang on. So, one thing, I just need to be careful about this, right? Or I can even try and just trade rooks off now. There, trade. And I should be in a pretty strong position. Even with just one extra pawn, but this one extra pawn makes a big difference because it's completely past pawn. If I do this and he drops his rook down, I've only got one defender on that, so yeah, I'm going to try and trade off, I think. Trade off this way. If I go here and he goes rook there, I take his rook. If I go here, what do I... I'll do this one. If he tries to dodge that way, I'll just go there, try and get rooks on both open files. He's also got to be very careful about a back rank mate as well. Really? If I go here, no, I'm just going to trade off. Sod it, trade off. Okay, now the king comes towards the centre. Now he's only got one piece to attack this, so my king can quite happily defend that. The king might even come over one more, but more than likely I'll just probably try and pop the king there. My issue is I've got to defend this pawn, but I also want to protect that one as it moves up the board. I've always got the threat of this. Now if I go here, now his king can't be back ranked, so I'm going to push a couple of pawns. Now we're in a very kind of tight endgame. His advantage is he's got his rook here on the 7th rank, which means he's kind of behind my pawns, right? If I go here, he goes there, I go here, he takes my pawn, he's defending his own pawn. So there's no advantage to that. So I think I'm going to have to engage my king somehow. Try and swap off this guy. Maybe get 2 passed pawns, which would be a real bonus. He's down to 9 minutes now. I'm on 13 and a half. I can't push this pawn because I take. If I push and he pushes, then my king is stuck. So I think I'm going to have to push h5 to prevent that idea. Now, what happens if I push? Takes, I lose a pawn. That's vexing. Here, I've got to be careful about his A pawn though. Really got to be careful about that. If I push that, yeah, I know. Might end up having to try and clock him, flag him. I've always got this. My rook can just move up and down there to his heart's content. So assuming this pawn comes in at any point, we can be trading off pawns. So I can now move quicker. I'm trying to keep the pressure, the onus is on him. There. Right, I'm going to have to try and make a pawn break now. Should have put my rook there first. Should have kept it there, defending this guy. Because now he's got this idea. Then I might have to move my king across to defend that pawn. Takes, that's okay. I really don't know. There, takes. I move up. He attacks this pawn. I'm going to put my rook there anyway, because I think defending that e6 pawn is going to be important. Also means his king can't get through beyond there. Currently. He's got an advantage over this square here, g5. So if I takes, again my king can't advance very well. If I push, yeah, I don't think I've got much choice really. He's got checks. This pawn's always going to be defended. He might be able to force a repetition here. Possible. That's interesting, but the king can't advance any further than that, so I'm curious. Okay. I think if I move back here and the king comes here, he can't overwhelm this pawn, right? Because he can't attack it with the king and the rook, because the only line he's got is going to be that. What are you going to do? You're going to put your king there? Is that your idea? See, he can't do anything. So rook can't come to here, right? Also, the king can't come to here and attack the pawn because it can't capture first. The connection was closed because I logged into another browser. Don't think so. Let's try refreshing this. Okay, we're back on. Tricky little one there. Is he thinking about this? Try and trade off the rooks. Then I get my rook behind here and push the d pawn all the way to victory. And this is now where you have to count. Okay, so I go there, king goes there, push. Should be alright. Let's do it, let's try it. I should really have spent some time to calculate that now, but king takes, I move 1 of 4. He's maybe got that idea, that, yeah, thought about that. Now do I just come back here? There, rook blocks again. We trade rooks. King ends up here, and he can't stop the d pawn. Right? His pawn's got 4 squares to go, as has mine. Right? So even if rook here and trades, king here, he's got to get king take out of the way. 3, 4, 5, 6. Not enough, I don't think. Maybe that's a good move. I don't know. If I drop my rook back and he comes here, I go there. Here I go here. There, I can't stop him taking this stupid pawn. But the d pawn goes on his way. Yeah, there's nothing you can do, pal. Don't think. Oh, I should have gone back here. Okay, off you go. Quick, leg it. So what I'm thinking is if I can lure the king over here, there, king takes, yeah? I can now zip across and grab that one. Takes, king here. King takes, I take. He comes, oh, I don't know. It's all getting a bit risky, isn't it? It certainly is, right. I don't know. I do not know. Now king can't take the pawn. Okay, so I definitely come here. I have to stop these 2 pawns. I've lost my pawn advantage now. Okay. He can go there, he can't go there. So king comes across, now I go there then. I think I might be in trouble though. And he's going to have the inside line. He gets to come over here and gobble up all these pawns. That's the problem. And I can't, I've got no push. There's nothing I can do here other than grab that pawn and go around the back of his like this, right? Like that. Yeah, I mean, properly, well and truly outplayed in that one, in that endgame. Very well done by my opponent, has to be said. Okay, very resignable. Good game, well played. Well, I'm glad it was unrated, eh? So let's see what I should... Where did I lose track of that one? Because I think we'll zip to the end game, because this will be very instructive. He played very accurately at the end there. I definitely had an advantage for a lot of that game. So where are the big... Oh my lord. Look at this. Here I was ahead. That was a blunder. Okay, he played that, which is a missed win. He should have done. That's one of those tricky ones. Very hard to spot. Knight takes e6. No, I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway. So then he got another massive advantage here. And that was a blunder. He should have played. Dodge out the way. Okay. And then we go through. So here still I had massive advantages, right? Okay, so now we're in the ending. So f4 is a blunder, and then I messed up with that move. Should have played. Rook across allows me to play my rook here, defending my pawn. That was a blunder, and again I failed to capitalize. What should I have done? Again, rook c8, okay. Keeping the king out of that line. And really from this point, this is now very equal according to the machine. I'm only 1 pawn up, that's inaccurate. Do you know what? I need to get better at my endgames, eh? So that's a mistake. So now we're bang equal. So now it's saying it should be a draw. That's excellent, okay. That's excellent as well. Inaccurate. I should have played the trade. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one. Yeah, so that is a dead draw, right? Because if pawn takes, I come around, I'm going to get that pawn, and this king can't guard this pawn and prevent that one at the same time. So I don't know. But, whew, tough one. Very tough one. Okay, so yeah, I need to work a bit more on the endgames. I think that's the lesson from that one. So you really have just got to be totally pragmatic. A lot of times you saw as we were playing the game, I said just let's try this, let's have a go at this, right? And in the endgames you can't do that. You've got to be calculating. You've got to be clinical, machine-like. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you later.